Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on YouTube and introduce myself and kind of do a get ready with me and introduce myself video. So I'm just going to use this 24K Gold Infusion Illuminating Facial Serum. So as you can see, I wanted to create a YouTube channel. And the purpose is I got hired about a month ago to become a third grade teacher. So I went to school for 5 years and now I'm a teacher. It could have been 4, but I am like the guinea pig in the family. So I was a first generation student, as in nobody before me had gone to college or a university. So there's that. And I think I've always wanted to become a teacher. Of course, for my kindergarten graduation, I said I wanted to be a police officer, but I just thought that was cool and they looked so cool in movies. So that's what I wanted to go for, but I changed my mind when I met some amazing teachers that I feel like shaped my early years. And you know, I feel like we all have at least one teacher that really impacted our lives, and I had that teacher. And I felt like this teacher was very nice, very understanding, and I was always kind of moving around from school to school when I was younger, and I feel like there was a lot of gaps. And if you're a teacher, you know, like if your students are moving around from school to school, they don't know some things. Like maybe one school is in one place, and then whenever you move, they've already taught that and you were never taught that, you know? And that's kind of what happened to me. I was moving around and I was never taught to multiply like two digit with a 2-digit number. And I didn't know how to do that. And so I did, but it was a lattice. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's a lattice multiplication method where you use a square and you kind of write your numbers around it, and then you kind of cut your squares in half and you go diagonal. It's like a very different way from what everybody else knew. And I remember she wanted us to review, and so she called out some people's names and we went to the front of the board and we worked out a math problem. And of course I was super scared because I didn't know the way to that way, you know, everybody else knew how to multiply that way and I didn't. So of course I draw my little square, I start dividing it, and I do it the way I know how to do it. And when I sat down, there were some students that were like, "What were you doing?" And I was mortified. I remember like I could feel my heart beating so fast. I felt like my heart was coming out of my throat. Like I was really nervous to go up there. I was scared because I didn't know how to do something everybody else knew how to do. And this teacher sat me down and she was like, "Teach me your way and I'll teach you my way." And I think after that moment, it really hit me how some teachers are so helpful and how her way of dealing with that situation was so nice. And so, you know, I learned out of it, and I really appreciated that she did that instead of, you know, perhaps embarrassing me in front of everyone. So I feel like she was probably the main reason why I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be able to teach my students. You know, that's our job as a teacher. You teach students, and you're also kind of like a second mom. You care for those kids. I mean, you're with them for an entire year. You grow to love those kids, and you care not only about their education but their well-being, everything really, their home life, their feelings, their emotion, how they show up, their hygiene. Like, you really care about those kids. They become, just like you become their second mom, they become like your second set of kids if you already have kids, you know. And that was my reason of why I wanted to become a teacher. The other reason was that there were some things that I didn't understand in elementary school. So when I went into kindergarten, I didn't know any English. So yeah, I remember I have an older sister who's 4 years older than me. So she went to kindergarten, she learned her English, but I didn't really learn from her. So I was kind of just going into kindergarten not knowing any words. I feel like I knew the word snake, I think. That was literally it. There's something in my tongue, yuck. How did you get in there? It's a hair. Okay, so I went into school and I didn't know any English, and of course I learned it. I don't remember learning it, but I do remember moments such as, like in second grade, I believe we were giving like a writing prompt, or I don't know what we had to do, but we had to write something, right? And I remember she said, add more detail. Like, I handed her my paper and she was like, add more detail. And I was thinking, like, what's detail? I had no idea what detail meant. You know, of course, I did learn English, but it was only what I learned in school. Like, this wasn't something that I didn't speak English in my home. My parents didn't know any English. And, you know, my sister, like I said, she's 4 years older than me, but it's not like she was telling me, detail this, detail that. No. So I didn't know what that word meant. And for some reason, I guess I was aware of cursive. So I thought detail, like D and a tail. So I guess in my head, I thought cursive. I didn't even know what cursive meant, but I knew what cursive looked like. So that's what I thought detail meant. And I remember I sat back down and I added all these little curly ends to all of my letters. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done. You know, I'm going to turn this in. I'm going to give it to her. And I come to find out that she says, add more detail. You need more detail in this. And I'm thinking, like, Jesus Christ, like, you could barely see or barely read any of this because of how much detail it has. Like, it's all curly and fancy, and each letter had like a little, you know, little roly-poly end. So I was like, oh my gosh, like she's not gonna be able to read any of this. And that experience, like, kind of brought me to reality when I wanted to become a teacher, that not all of your kids, I mean, I heard her several times. I heard her. I mean, that was never the issue. The issue was that I didn't understand her. And just because somebody's hearing you doesn't mean they understand you. I didn't understand that. And I live in an area where there are a lot of Hispanics, and I wanted to be able to help them. Last year, I was working at a school where I did my internship. And I was working as an LLI teacher, and that means that I'm helping students who are not on reading level. And so some of these students were Hispanic, and I feel like if my job was to help them read, I was able to speak both languages. So if they were like, oh, does that mean a turtle? I'm like, yes, that means a turtle. Like, they asked me in Spanish, and I was able to help them that way. And I feel like I helped a lot of my students with that job. Now, becoming a classroom teacher, I will be able to be with my students and grow with my students. And I feel like knowing both languages, Spanish and English, is going to help my kids tremendously. And like I've said before, if I had a teacher like me that could speak both languages, that could help me in those kind of situations, that would have been literally a life changer. And I don't know, I feel like just some kids really don't know the language. They struggle, and it's not only hard finally get into the education field and start learning things, but not knowing the language is like a whole other barrier. And I guess that was another thing that just inspired me to become a teacher. And now that I am going to be a teacher, I'm excited to have, you know, all my students, whatever ethnicity they are, my job is to be their teacher and to teach them and love them, and I'm just so excited to do that. So now that you know a little bit more about me, did I mention I'm 24? I'm 24, I'm Hispanic, I am Mexican, and yeah, so let me kind of just finish my makeup real quick and do my brows, my eyes, and then I will come back real quick. Ow! Okay guys, I'm back. I'm done with my everyday makeup. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's still time consuming, but it's something that I wear every day, that I'm probably gonna wear every day to school as well. I have worn makeup for years, so I do feel like I have to wear makeup all the time. Like it's a must, it's part of my routine. So this is something pretty basic that I could wear every day, like I said, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this getting ready with me, chatting with me, getting to know me. Like I said, I'm really excited to start this YouTube channel. I can't wait for you guys to see what I want to share, how creative I can get, and just things like that. If you are thinking of becoming a teacher, I hope this inspires you and kind of shows you what you will be doing if you do choose this profession. And yeah, so I'm really excited. I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching.